Hi friends, and welcome to Ancient Number Systems. Now this is normally thought of as an honors topic, but because we go to a history-based charter school, I feel like everyone should have the opportunity to see this information. Now first, before we get into the Roman numerals, which I'm sure that you're at least partially familiar with, I first want to talk about the numbers that we use so that we have them as a basis of reference. Okay, the number system, our current number system is called the Hindu-Arabic number system. Okay, so, or just the Arabic system, but really, the Hindu-Arabic, that's the full name of it. And some interesting bits and pieces of our own number system. For the longest time and through what is basically the Dark Ages, people were using things like an abacus, and the Roman numerals were still around. And they're not super easy to do math with as I will show you. And so, but they lasted for a really good long time. The first hints of our Hindu-Arabic number system came around 600, 700, 800 AD, and then about 825 is when a book by a mathematician, his name is Al-Khwarizmi, and we'll talk about him on Friday. He wrote a small book on that subject, and it was translated into English or Latin, and it was spread throughout Europe. And so after about this point, the numbers became pretty consistent, actually, throughout Europe and then throughout the rest of the world. Interestingly enough, now, both the Hindus and the Arabs have different numbers than the ones that we use. They know ours as well, but I just think that's kind of funny that the Hindus and the Arabs have different numbers than the Hindu-Arabic system. But, that's just, things like that kind of tickle me a little. Alrighty, but interesting, you can read this along with me if you'd like. The advantages enjoyed by the perfected positional system are so numerous and so manifest that the Hindu-Arabic numerals and the base 10, we've kind of talked about that a little, have been adopted almost everywhere. These might be said to be the nearest approach to a universal human language yet devised. They are found in Chinese, Japanese, and Russian scientific journals in every Western language. Okay? And that's from the Encyclopedia Britannica, to be fancy, and give references. Alrighty, so let's talk about some Roman numerals then. So basically what I'd like to do with these number systems is kind of teach you how to write them, and then we're going to practice translating into the system and back out of the system. So first, let's just make a list of some of the common numbers, or the numbers that you need to know, because it's a little bit different than how our system works, because they didn't have a zero, first of all. That changes things a lot. So for number 1, they would write an I. Not too bad. Number 2, they would write I. Again, not too bad. This is kind of like the tally system I've talked about earlier. And then I. You might see these on clocks, on analog clocks. And then that's the first 3. Then things get a little crazy. We're going to do an I, and then after that, a V. And what this is, V is actually number 5. And by having an I to the left, it's actually 5 minus 1, which makes that 4. So if you have an I, because then if we look at 6, and then 6 is going to be V with an I on the right side. So if it's on the right side, you add it. If it's littler and on the left side, you subtract it. Okay, so 6 and 7 then would be VI. I, and 8, B, I, I. And then 9, again, because it's one before a change of letter, 10 is X. So 9 ends up being, it's 1 before 10, and so that's going to be I, X. Okay? So that's 1 through 10, and that we'll build on, we'll use those to fill in all of the numbers that we need. And so it continues. So we can make the number 15 by putting together 10 and 5. Okay, we could do that. We could do that with, I don't know, 24. Okay, 24, that means we need 2 10s. So that's XX, and then a 4 is IV. So that's 24. So you can see how this is a rather cumbersome number system. But looking at our powers, because they actually have a different letter for every 1 and then 5 in the set. So 1 we've already talked about is I, 5 is V, 10, 10 is X, and then the next one up is going to be 50. 50 is L, and then the next one up from that is 100, which is C, and then 500, you notice the pattern here, is D, and 1,000 is M. Okay, so with this basis, we can make numbers up until, you know, we don't know what I didn't write down 5,000, so we're not going to do that. So let's practice using these, translating from our numbers to their numbers. So today's date is going to be October 14th, 2020, right? But that would be 2020 for realsies. So then let's write we will write this out in Roman numerals. So 10's pretty easy, right? So we got that, 10, and then 14 is going to be 10 plus 4, and then 2,000, that means we need 2 M's, and then we need 20, which is 2 10s. So MMXX is our year. And that's actually not too bad once we got into the 2000s. When we were living in the 1900s, like if we had to do, let's say we were partying like it's 1999, and we'll do 12/21 of 1999. This year, the 1900s were rather cumbersome when it comes to the Roman numerals. So 12 would be XII, 21 is XXI, and then here we go. So we need 1,000. Actually, we could be sneaky on this one and do a 1 less than 1,000. But if we spell it right out, 1,000 is M, 900 is going to be 1 minus M, and then 90 is 1 minus 100, and then 9 is 1 minus 10. So you can see the 1900s were a little bit more cumbersome when it comes to Roman numerals. Now, here's the crazy thing. Roman numerals were very difficult to do even simple arithmetic with. So let's say we wanted to add 2 numbers. Let's add 371 and 53. Okay? But in Roman numerals, in our numerals, that's not too bad. In Roman numerals, we would write this 300s, which is CCC. 70 is going to be, where's 50? 50 plus 2 more 10s. And then 1 is an I. And then 53, 50 is an L. Oh. And we don't really have number places. So 53 is L-I-I-I. So if we try to add these, I mean, you can kind of do it a little bit. So we've got 4 I's. So that gives us an IV. That's how I would write the 4. And then we've got 2 L's, which is going to give us, that's 2 50s. That gets us another C. So now we're a C before D with 2 X's. See how it's kind of a mess. And I don't even know if I'm doing it right. You know, 1 before D. So this is why algebra in particular did not really pick up for a good long time. And it was, again, thanks to Brahmagupta, one of our mathematicians we've already talked about, that really using the Hindu Arabic number system really got us going on the algebra stuff. And zeros are very important. Okay, so what I'd like you guys to do is there's a worksheet that looks like this. And so either download it or print it, or I'll have a copy of it for you. And you're just going to be converting from the Roman numerals to our Hindu Arabic numbers, and then from our numbers to Roman numerals, and then try a couple story problems. This is a completion grade. It doesn't matter if you get things right or wrong. I just want you to give it a try and feel what it is like to be, you know, an ancient Roman doing math. And then you'll be grateful for our modern days. There is also another worksheet if you want to for funsies. And this is a Sudoku in Roman numerals. This is why I taught you how to do Sudoku last week or the week before, because I knew we would have fun with ancient number systems. So, give these a try. Give it a turn in. It's not a lot of pressure. It should just be for fun. Okay, bye.